Welcome, guys, to another interactive session with Inside Sports. And today we have got a very special guest with us, expert panelist for the Road to UFC Ultimate Show for UFC 290, Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. Glad to have you here, Arjun Chipalkatti. So,
Thank you so much. Like you said my name fully properly, Chipalkatti.
yeah, I really had to actually practice it for several times. But like, if people follow you on Instagram, they know you as Arjun Chip. So,
Yeah, correct. Everybody calls me Arjun Chips or Mystic Chips or whatever. They have some nickname for me. But very few people say Chipalkatti properly. And I'm very impressed. Thank you.
But that's really great because nicknames is just something that makes the sport of MMA so special. So you already have one. So coming quickly to the UFC 290 segment, before UFC 290, I would also like to shed light on something that happened with the women's division. So if you go to the official website of the UFC, you will find that the featherweight division kind of seems like it has been shut down.
Yes. Yes,
So
I
I just
heard
want to
news.
know your thoughts on it, like because Amanda Nunes has retired. So where does the division go from here? Is it fair to shut it down like this?
No, I mean, see, the fact that they've taken it off the website is an indication within itself, but there is no official announcement yet being made by the UFC, so it's difficult to comment on it. But as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't be surprised if they shut down that division because once Amanda left, and with no lack of real competitors in that sense, because even fighters like Misha Tate and Holly Holm have dropped down to bantamweight now. So there are not a lot of competitors there anymore. So I won't be too. Honestly, I think if there are, if those divisions can merge, that'll be great. But as far as I'm concerned, featherweight as a standalone, especially with Amanda not being there now, may not be as much of a draw as it was in the past.
So does it make Bellator or PFL, like these organizations, have a greater chance of having women's fighters get into their domain and gain attention from the audience? Like, is UFC going to get suppressed if compared for women's fighting?
No, but hang on. But the thing is that shutting down of one division does not take away from the rest of the women's MMA because we still have strawweights, we have flyweights, we have bantamweights. We've got three solid divisions with three solid champs across the board. And with contenders like with Talia Santos, and the return, the Valentina Shevchenko rematch, which is happening next month, there is a lot of exciting MMA happening. There's a lot of exciting MMA happening in the women's division. In fact, if anything, the UFC still has the best roster for women's as compared to everybody else.
So the UFC is also breaking a lot of stereotypes. Like when I still remember when Dana White said that they are going to introduce a BMF belt, it was something he recognized as a one-time thing. And Masvidal was considered the ultimate BMF, but now the title is back. So do you think what's your reaction to it generally? Because
It's awesome. It's awesome, man. It's the best thing to happen. Everybody loves you want to see the title shots and you want to see the champs and you want to see the number one contenders. But sure, I'd love to watch, a BMF belt happen in the process. And especially when it's happening between two guys who are perennial contenders in that division, two of the most exciting fighters, according to me. They both have had multiple title shots. They've lost their title shots. They're kind of treading water at number 3 and number 4 in the division. So right now, it makes sense for both of them to fight. And throwing in a BMF belt is just fun. It's fun for everybody else.
But if considered the BMF tag, we know Nick Diaz can be considered a great BMF. His brother Nate Diaz is obviously a BMF. So what makes you a BMF is not just your fighting skill. Obviously, you need to be a badass fighter. But that's something that I feel that you need to be also, badass outside the cage, outside the fight scale. So comparing to that, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gage, do you feel like they're the ultimate BMFs? I know they're absolutely great fighters, and if considered their fighting style, they're the absolute BMFs. But if you take them outside that fighting zone, do you think they can carry the charisma of Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz?
You see, the Diaz brothers, you can never replace a Diaz brother. Diaz brothers were the OG gangsters that came out of Stockton and burst onto the scene of fighting many, many years ago. The thing is that this is the beauty of the sport, where your looks don't determine who you are anymore. Once upon a time, the guys who had the biggest tattoos and the biggest muscles were considered the most dangerous guys in the world. But look at what MMA has taught us, that a seemingly mild-mannered man if you look at Justin Gaethje when he's, with his glasses and his polo t-shirt, you can't tell he's a fighter, boss. You cannot.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and same thing with, okay, Diamond Polo he built like on truck. He looks like a fighter. He is badass. Both these guys are badass. It's not the looks anymore. I think just his fighting style and the approach to the sport that he has is what makes both of them BMFs. It's that do or die where they will fall on their sword and die in the middle of the battlefield rather than quit fighting.
Like coming back to UFC 290, which is this week, and then Alexander Volkanovski obviously that's a great fight we have been talking about. But we have got another title fight, that's Brandon Moreno versus Alexander Pantoja. Now, a lot of people, like obviously hardcore fans know it, but a lot of casuals, a lot of fans, people don't know that Pantoja is someone who has beaten Brandon Moreno twice. Do you see that happening for the third time? If
This
Moreno
is
wants to
why
return,
that match exists in the first place. Because I love timelines in that sense. In a fight timeline where fighters have met all over their past while growing up, you can see one trajectory went one way, one went the other way. Brandon Moreno, after he fought Davison Figueiredo 3 or 4 times, he cemented himself as one of the best in that division. The best. He is the champ. And Pantoja, though, has been creeping up the ranks. He faced him very, very long time ago. But now it becomes interesting. But what it does, it will play somewhere on the champion's mind. Because the mind games begin. He's like, listen, I'm already 2 up. The same situation happened when Alex Pereira took on Israel Adesanya.
yeah,
Because Izzy also walked into that match saying, holy shit, I'm 0-3 against this guy. What am I going to do? And that's what happened. Either you fall prey to the past, what happened, you lost, and it maybe might happen again, or you overcome it, and then you stand where you are. And that's what happened with Israel Adesanya. In the rematch against Pereira, he's like, enough is enough. I've lost enough. I'm going to win now. So it's going to be everybody has to tune in to watch this fight, because if you're a fan of fighting and you're a fan of mixed martial arts, and mixed martial arts in its purest form, you're going to see that fight. You're going to see that happen. Moreno versus Pantoja.
after that fight would be absolutely the main event, the featherweight title fight. Now, Alexander Volkanovski, he's obviously a great fighter, but he's coming off from a loss. That's for sure. He put on a great performance, but what the history books would say is that he lost the fight against Islam Makhachev, which a lot of people considers. Now, if I ask you your true opinion, after the fight, Easy said that he felt like Volk deserved a win because obviously they are teammates, and Henry Cejudo also said that he felt like Islam deserved a win. So, which side are you on? Like, who do you think actually won the fight?
Honestly, I've seen that fight 3 times, and if by the current judging scorecard methods, by the current judging standards, yes, Islam Makhachev won the fight. He won the fight on points, and that is undeniable. But the thing is that you watch fights in 2 ways. One is the way the judge watches the fight, and one is the way a normal person will watch the fight. You see, fights are, the funny thing about fights is nobody remembers the middle of the fight. They remember the beginning and they remember the end. And the end was Alexander Volkanovski pounding on Islam Makhachev for the remaining 30 seconds. Experts, a lot of people said 30 more seconds and we might have seen a stoppage. And it proved a lot of things that Alexander Volkanovski, despite being smaller, went up and took on a very, very touted, dangerous champion and almost unseated him. Win, lose or draw, boss. He's a BMF already.
Yeah. Like he's obviously a pound for pound elite right now, and this would obviously give him a lot of confidence if looked into properly. Like this would give him a lot of confidence going to Yair Rodriguez. But at the end of the day, he lost the fight. So what can Yair Rodriguez, pick up from that fight and say that, okay, fine, I will utilize these things on my priority list and I will take this guy out. So how can he beat Alexander Volkanovski at 145 right now?
This is the interesting part now, where styles make fights. Alexander Volkanovski is a master game planner. It doesn't matter who you are. He will figure out a game plan to find you and beat you at it. And what a lot of fighters the only way somebody has been able to stifle him is with unpredictability. And Yair Rodriguez is unpredictable into 10 million. He is so unpredictable. His striking is from multiple angles. He mixes in sweeps, he mixes in trips, he does clinch work, he has switch kicks. He's working a lot. The one thing that Yair needs to be ready for is to be able to keep up that pace for 10 rounds, because Alexander Volkanovski, nobody has better cardio than him right now. Maybe Max Holloway. But my point is, Alexander Volkanovski will wear you down. He will break you down. He will drag you into deeper waters, and he will make you suffer. Whereas Yair is a power fighter. He comes in with heavy, splashy strikes. It all depends on how ready he is. And from what I've been reading and seeing, he's been training at high altitude with the Aztecs, where people are saying he's tapping into the Aztec gods to give him some different kind of endurance and energy to take on the champ. So according to me, this is either going to be okay, you want a prediction? It's either going to finish quickly, or it is going to be a long drawn test match.
Okay, so we are almost in the final moment of our interview, and like I would ask you just one last question. So UFC 291 is coming. UFC 291 is into a weekend, like, where there are so many other fight options, like just Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford also happening, Bellator Reason happening. What makes UFC 290 and 291 two pay-per-views in a single month must watch for fight fans? Like, who are new to the sport?
Because no knock on any other fighting, all fighting is good. I'm going to try and catch every fight, because whether I watch it all live or watch it delayed, I will watch everything. But the UFC has got four of the greatest fighters who are fighting right now, who are taking each other on. And if you're a fight fan, you cannot not see those two fights. You cannot not see those two title fights. And they are so good. I mean, you as a fan are missing out on something great. Not to mention, you're going to see a grudge match between Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis. You're going to see the last fight of one of the greatest legends in fighting, Robbie Lawler. Ruthless Robbie Lawler, one of my favorite fighters in the world. I love that man, and it's I'm going to cry when he puts his gloves down.
That would be really emotional. So
this
is something that makes UFC 290 an absolute must-watch for fans. Indian MMA fans can watch that show live on Sony Sports Network. Sony Sports 2 would be for English commentary. For Hindi commentary, you can switch to Sony Sports, to Sony 10.3 and Sony 10.4 for Tamil and Telugu. Also, you can catch all the actions live on Sony Live app. So let's see what happens on the fight night.
Don't forget to tune in before the main event starts. Please tune in.
Absolutely. If you're a fight fan, you cannot
miss the UFC.
UFC, absolutely. And like, let's see what happens, whether the predictions comes true, and obviously you're going to catch up soon after the fight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Thank you, Raj.
Thank you so much.